Then, because he gets his questions in practically the minute, we answered his last question. Very, very efficient. Dodger, a.k.a. Mike, a.k.a. MJ Sewall, asks, hello there, Manly Matt, Ron Esler Dow, and the far less complicated Dave Sim. Anything done for the first time unleashes a demon was famously the first issue with backgrounds by Gerhardt. It began the era of Dave and Gare, but it's also one of the best titles of any individual issue, in my opinion. I love the other title homages to hit songs, Sane as It Ever Was, etc. But this is a true Dave Sim original. So 40th anniversary questions for Dave. Where did this unique title come from? That is in the category of when you ask the writer, where do you get your ideas? The honest answer is, I don't know. That you don't have the idea, and then you do have the idea. Sometimes it's triggered by something. You saw something, and that linked to you thinking about this, and then you thinking about that, and then it follows the neural pathways, and you can say, okay, this is where I got that idea. Or I read this in a book, or I saw this in a movie. That would definitely be in that category. Was it merely trepidation about change? And no, at the time, it was trying to find distillations of reality. Learning to demarcate in my own mind, okay, that's just a phrase that it's, there's a bunch of phrases. We all need phrases strung together in order to communicate with each other. But in terms of there are phrases that have more significance, that seem in and of themselves pregnant with significance. And as somebody who was writing a 6,000-page graphic novel, it was, okay, this is something that I'm aware of myself watching for, and I'm more aware of myself watching for it than I ever was before. And anytime that I would get something like that would come into my head, a few issues after that, there was Another Thing Coming, which that issued from hearing somebody using the expression in terms of, if you think X, Y, and Z, you've got another thing coming. And thinking, yeah, that's, if you sit down and look at that, that's a very interesting way to express that. Another thing coming. Because there's always another thing coming. It's the nature of reality. I was just going about my day today, and then a thing came, whatever it was, something in the mail, a phone message, something I saw out in the street, something I read in the newspaper. So I had another thing coming. We always have another thing coming. Anything done for the first time unleashes a demon is definitely an atheistic way of looking at it. From this side of the volleyball net that I'm on now, I would say, okay, let's take paying the Muslim zakah. You've never paid the Muslim zakah, and suddenly today you went to the food bank or you went to a charity and gave them a check for 20% of your earnings. So you've done that for the first time. I would have a great deal of difficulty seeing that as unleashing a demon. Also, there's a quality to the term demon in terms of presumably there are things that unleash malignant spirits, but then there are probably also things that unleash benign spirits. And over from benign spirits, where it's not helpful or hurtful, beneficent spirit. And consequently, it would be probably more accurate to say anything done for the first time unleashes a spirit or an aspect of spirit. Were you worried about Cerebus having more than one creative person on board? No, it really, although I don't remember exactly where it came from, I wasn't really relating anything to Gerhardt at the time, because it was, Gerhardt and I had done a color story for Epic magazine, and then, I had talked to Arn Saba and coming back from an Ottawa convention and saying, I've always done everything on my own, but Gerhardt is obviously really good, so I am thinking about collaborating with him. And as a person who collaborates, and Arn Saba had a number of different collaborators, Dave Roman and Barb Rausch and so on. He said, as long as it's my comic book and I'm the one calling the shots, I see anything that's done on it as being essentially my work. We were going to try that out, and certainly issue 65 was where we were going to try it out. But it wouldn't have surprised me to find out, no, I think we can maybe do some more epic stories or other things like that. But Gerhardt just doesn't have what it takes to work on a monthly book. And the only way we're going to find that out is to have Gerhardt working on a monthly book. So that's your bonus question. Is there even more to this 40-year-old story? And I'm sure that there is, or I would imagine that there is, but it's not something that would be accessible to me. It was part of God's clockwork mechanism of this will be the perfect time for you to encounter this title in your head, and you won't really see the multiple resonances attached to it until much later on. But that's just the way reality works. And then Mike says, thanks as always and especially for all the extra goodies included with my recent can shipment. Wishing you California-style sunshine. MJ Mike Dodger can number 211 Sewall. So it's not just you that is a far more complicated name guy. And then you wrote, carry the 1 + 2. Hey, that's 4 questions. You're only allowed 3, Dodger. Dave, feel free to skip one of these. Rules is rules, Mike. If we make an exception for you without significant financial remuneration, it'll be chaos. Chaos, I tell you. Make checks payable to cash. Now I forgot something here. So thank you, Mike Sewall. Where's my? Yeah, remember Lang Stevens that was I was going to do answers for self-publishers that I hope it would help Lang Stevens and help others. Here's one that if it's not right at the top of the list, it should be right at the top of any list, which I'm finding out as I'm doing the Strange Death of Alex Raymond pages. If you want to ink more accurately, and we all want to ink more accurately, I don't think there's any cartoonist when inking who doesn't finish inking a face or a figure or whatever and go, okay, not the way it looked in my head, but I can live with it. I wish it was more the way that it looked in my head. Here's how to make it look more the way it does in your head. Whether you're drawing on, whether you're inking on illustration paper, Strathmore, illustration board, anything that you're working on, when you're inking, hold the page against the drawing board as hard as you can with whatever isn't your inking hand. In my case, my left hand. Get it right around where you're inking and literally put as much weight behind your hand and hold that sucker down as tight as you possibly can, because that reassures the inking side of your brain, the part of your brain that inks. This is exactly where the art paper is. All I have to do is refer over to the left side of my brain, actually the right side of my brain, holding the page down and go, yep, that's exactly where that page is. It's not bubbling up. It's not curling. It's not, it doesn't have a natural warp to it. Hold it down as firmly as you can. And then when you start inking, the left side of your brain and your right hand will actually ink more accurately, because it goes, I know exactly where this page is. If I know exactly where this page is specifically, and I know it because it's being held very, very firmly against the drawing board, I can put this line exactly the way where it's supposed to go. Because it's a really fine line in Strange Death of Alex Raymond, if there's any kind of warp or woof or bulge or anything like that, at one level or another, you're asking your inking part of your brain to guess where the page is and then get surprised by where the ink line or the brush line goes. So can't emphasize that one enough. If anybody is going to be inking tonight or tomorrow after they listen to this, give it a try. Give it a try. I think you'll see exactly what I'm saying, and you'll be surprised at how much better the results are that you're going to get with that.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
We finished up the first Dodger.
Oh, there we go. That's right. That's why I was having trouble with it. Okay. And then moving on, Dodger says, hey, Matt, I sent Dave a birthday present. Yeah, I know it's early. If Dave asks about it, I had to send it early. My May is going to be a nightmare. Thanks for all the momenting you do, Mike Dodger. And did you get my long reply to Dodger on his birthday present?
Yes, and I've posted it. I posted that on Sunday and or Monday.
Okay.
There were a number of faxes, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna plow through these, and I wanted to double check with Steve Peters to make sure he was okay with his letter going up. So I skipped him, but then I just was going down in order of, okay, this is what I got, and this is what's going on. And I got through everything. The problem, of course, is I did it over 2 days, so the second day I had to go, okay, which one of these have I already put up?
Right.
I'm getting better at, when I save the individual pages of the fax, instead of just saying this is Steve Peters 1, it's this is Steve Peters, this is the day it came in, this is page 1.
Aha!
A couple more years of this, I'm going to be a professional.
That's right. As the Germans say, we get too soon old and too late schmaut. Yeah, a wonderful birthday present. It's having brand new Al Williamson to thumb through, particularly when I had a panel that I was working on that just screamed for Al Williamson, and Al Williamson thinking definitely really helped. It was I really can't thank you enough, Dodger. And what was the other Dodger thing? Was he was asking about the tipped-in plates. The hell it's yours, put it back, this trade paperback belongs to. Those labels got remastered. Thank you, Sean. And printed by Studio Comics Press. And Dodger was wondering, okay, are you ever going to offer these? Because I'd like to get 16 of them for my 16 trade paperbacks. And as I said to Rolly, when I did those, the wrist was still 100%, and I'm not sure if I want to be using up wrist on hand lettering people's names onto 16 book plates. And Rolly said, just without missing a beat, why don't you letter one of them, and then we'll just get Studio Comics Press to print 16 of them. Aha!
What was that German saying?
We get too soon old and too late schmaut. So that's what's being worked on right now. And we've actually got another variation on that one, which is Studio Comics Press scanned the signature and then did it a little smaller on one of the book plates. Did I want it the full size that I had done it, or a little bit smaller? And I went, well, 16 book plates don't cost that much to do. Let's do 2 sets. And we can send Dodger 2 sets, and he can decide for himself if he wants the slightly smaller MJ Sewall or the slightly larger MJ Sewall. Did you get a scan of that from Rolly?
Not yet, but that might be coming through tonight.
Okay. Or I forgot to ask him to do it. Either one. Anyway, because Dodger was the one that provoked this will be entirely complimentary, and we'll be sending those out to him. But it will, I think, be something that we will offer with Can 11. We just have to figure out what's an appropriate amount of money in 2024 for that. Well, that's half of the please hold for Dave 17 sufficiently pride. Where's my graft, Dodger? Where's my graft? That's a good point. It's not enough to just thank Manly Matt Dow for all his momenting that he does. At some point, you have to cross his palm with silver.
I mean, I'm trying to remember. Mike, I think, has sent me stuff. or else I have to send him stuff, and so it's kind of sort of a, well, I owe him one. I don't know. I have a desk that's got a bunch of stuff on it that I really need to clean off and dig to the bottom of and find the Amok prize box, and then consolidate that with the Amok prize drawer, and then figure out who all is owed what and get it out. I just really hate mailing stuff.
Right. If you could just snap your fingers, which in my case is pretty much how it is. Rolly packages of the stuff and mails it, which is why I send a lot more stuff out in the mail than I would if I had to package it myself. Well, the one thing we know for certain with Dodger is he's already said, my May is going to be a nightmare. So if you do send him stuff, you're probably not going to hear from him until June.
I'm thinking I might not get a question from him till almost June.
That's possible as well, unless he gets on it right now early in his nightmare. Will we wait for a dump truck full of cash to hit while we wait for a dump truck full of cash to hit my front lawn,